Imagine growing up in a world where your future is decided for you. At age 19, you are placed in a gulag. Somehow, you survive. A lot of miracles happen. 3 months later, you find yourself in JFK International Airport in Queens, New York City. That's exactly what happened to me. Now, most people would say it's a culture shock. I say it's a planetary shift. My name is AJ.
I analyze institutions and how they shape people's lives.
And this is the story of my arrival to the United States of America. So in this video, we're going to cover the culture shock aspect, my first impression of America, integrating into society,
How I thought calling 911 would get me a free ride.
as well as how I found identity and belonging in a very chaotic nation such as the U.S.A. So my flight lands in JFK. It's winter, it's very cold, it's snowy outside. It is a very visual and sensory experience. I leave the airplane along with the other passengers and I'm walking through the gate and I'm noticing that a lot of people that I'm with at the gate are very diverse. They're not white people. It was very diverse where I'd say white people are a minority. So we get to the check-in counter area where DHS check you in and they look at your paperwork, take pictures of you, fingerprints and whatnot. And I noticed that there were two lines. One line, they were citizens, right? And they could just use this ATM looking machine and they could just go in and check themselves in and go home. The other line is for people like me who are there on a visa. A DHS officer would have to basically look into your paperwork and would have to give you the stamp and whatnot, verify your documents. So once I got checked in, we went to the baggage area. I'm about to get my bags. There, I saw a couple of police officers. One Latino and one Asian. Both of them had full sleeves tattoos. I remember the Asian officer being close to me and I'm seeing the patterns of his tattoos and they looked so cool. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, where I come from, such full sleeves tattoos are associated with criminality, being out of order, being hostile, just like being like a bad person. And now here it's a person who maintains the peace, is a peacekeeping officer, and he's got full sleeve tattoos. It's just art. It's a part of the lifestyle. We take our bags and we head out to the lobby area where we're gonna get the car. And in the lobby area, I saw these two white dudes, right? They were New York State troopers. They were so huge, they looked like they were being fed steroid injected Twinkies since they were kids. I'm looking up, and I'm 6'2". I'm looking up at these guys. They just looked crazy. They had the rifles and whatnot, and I was like, whoa, this is like America, dude. It's just the might, the size, what do you call it? Charisma. And we get out of the lobby. I remember seeing these snowflakes, and I've never experienced snowflakes in my life, right? It rarely happens. I never experienced it. The first car I saw was a cab, a New York cab, yellow. It was a visual experience, I'm telling you. It was just like a movie. Then we picked up our car and we headed to our destination. We drove by New York. There were graffitis on the wall, concrete, steel. It was just New York City. Think about it. Now, on our way out of New York City, we stopped by the Bronx. My first American meal. Where was it? Burger King. A quarter-pound cheeseburger with fries and a Diet Dr. Pepper. Yee freaking ha! It tasted like freedom and dignity. That's what it tasted like. The days passed by and it's time for me to go to school. It's cold. It's a new environment for me. I don't know what education is going to look like. I don't know how I'm going to get along with the people there. I had to maintain a very, very low profile. Even the friends that I make in school, barely any of them would know my story and what happened to me. Though we were in the same age, there was a big discrepancy from where I'm from, my background, culture, the trauma that I've gone through. 3 months ago, I was in the gulag. I was a slave. Now I'm just an average Joe on campus. It's a little different. I didn't want to scare people away. I also needed to keep my privacy due to the risks I had. It was a Christian school. It's the sanctuary where I was able to heal. I was in a protected bubble. It was very protective. Somewhat restrictive, but I see it more protective than it is restrictive. I learned how to write papers. I learned how to do homework the American way. I'm studying and I'm doing all of this homework in English. Talk about mental overload. It was a lot. The faculty at this school were amazing. They were loving and caring. And truly, in this school, I learned more about my own faith. I learned more about the scholarly part of Judeo Christian beliefs and Judeo Christian history. We'd have mandatory cathedral where we'd go to the cathedral in the middle of the day and we just do like a worship session and they give like a short sermon. It was nothing like Islam, it was religious, but when somebody comes with trauma from any type of religious practice, they become hypersensitive to anything that feels like lording things on you. I would just go to the faculty or go to my professors or talk to my parents and I would say, hey, why is this required? Isn't this like Islam? Isn't this institutionalized religion that forces stuff over people? It will constantly remind me that this is the educational way. This is the Christian school. It's a method of, it's not required by the government. It's not required by a law or anything. It's part of your student required activity that you have to do as part of the college. So there are these little things that I struggled with because of my own trauma. But I had a lot of good input, a lot of wise, godly input from my own parents and from other youth leaders and professors and faculty members within that school. And I've had some great godly friends too. I've had some godly friends that were capable of recognizing what I'm going through, connecting with me through scripture, through the Spirit, through God, through our shared commitment and allegiance to the Lord. I'm super, super thankful for my time at the Christian school. It's a sanctuary to me. It was a sanctuary where I was provided with healing and equipped with vocational skills of writing and self-independence in the American way. In my time at the Christian school, I joined the rugby team. I have all this trauma. My ribs are probably done healing by now, but my foot, my ankle is not done healing. It takes some years for me to recover fully. I joined the rugby team by my second semester and I meet a lot of cool guys, a lot of cool godly guys. And I had so much fun being part of the rugby team. I met one of my best friends, a guy that was at my wedding. He was half Russian, half Ukrainian. So we joke about it today. I knew that I was awkward because of the fact that I'm new to the US and to the culture. The way I sound whenever I speak English, it's not a matter of flow or cadence or accent. It's a matter of saying things like, hey, do you want to throw that away? I wouldn't say away. I just say, do you want to throw that? People would be like, what? Away? You mean away? Or like, I would say, you have a great skin. You have great skin. That's how you say it in America. Or I wish if I had this, I would add the if. And it's probably because of my Arabic background where if is used linguistically. So though I sound more Americanized, I'm culturally off, right? Which kind of makes you look awkward and weird. People are not assuming, oh, he must be cross-culturally assimilating and in the process. People are not going to think that. They'll just say, oh, yeah, that guy's a weirdo. And I was okay with that. During my time at the rugby team, something very important happened. We had to drive for a day to Nebraska to play a school there. It was -3 degrees. Believe it or not, -3 degrees in the winter. Most of us did not prepare for it. I didn't have winter clothes like that. Some of us did, but most of us did not prepare. We should have worn long underpants and some stuff to keep yourself warm in that weather, but we didn't. So we were standing there in rugby shorts and shirts, cleats on a snowy field. It was so cold that at some point I stopped feeling my skin. And I wasn't playing with the primary players. I had to stay on the side. So I was standing there, I wasn't running, and I'm freezing my balls off. As I'm standing there, I get this feeling that my heart is trying to push blood, but it's not. It's like my heart pumps a couple of times and my eyes widen up and I'm like, what was that, dude? So I freaked out and I went to the car. The teammates are looking at me. He's like, where's he going? I get in the car and I take my phone and I'm like freezing. What's going on? I call 911. Yo, 911.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm freezing and I don't know what's going on. We're playing this school and I'm kind of freaking out and my heart just beat in a different way. And I was wondering if you guys can take me to the hotel. I asked 911 if they can take me back to the hotel because I was freezing. So the operator says, it's this guy, he's like, do you feel like you need an ambulance? I said, no, I don't need an ambulance. I just need, can you guys take me to the hotel? He said, no, we can't take you to the hotel. I was like, why not, dude? Why not? You guys are emergency service. This is emergency. Can you send a car that takes me to the hotel? Said, I can send you a car, but it'll be an ambulance. It'll take you to the hospital, not the hotel. I was like, okay, dude, whatever. And then I hung up. My teammates were very furious. They came to the car and they're like, get out and stay in there with us. I was like, I'm freezing. I could not do that. So they pushed me into the game and I started playing and I actually felt better. But there you go. I'm new to America. I don't know what 911 is supposed to be for. I thought it was a legit emergency and I need to go, and I thought they would do that. Stuff like that would happen where I come from. People are much more simple. But in the US, if you call 911, you're going to have to be ready because the call's going to get answered and people are going to come through. And it's like a whole, like, it has a legal framework about it. You'd owe money for the ambulance services. And so imagine going through all of that and having to learn it. But the worst part of all of this is my teammates heard about it because I told them, I was like, yeah, I called 911. I thought they could take me to the hotel. My heart was beating. Like, oh, you're a coward for that. You're a coward. I was like, I'm not a coward, bro. I've gone through so much. You guys have no idea, but this is crazy, dude. My heart is beating. I never experienced this cold. They're like, no, that's not a thing, dude. It's not a thing. Human beings are alike. It's not about what you experienced or not. You're just weak like that or whatever. They picked on me for like months after that, and they called me 911. I was no longer going by my name. From that point on, whenever we go do drills or whatever, what do they refer to me as? 911. Hey, 911, where you going, dude? Hey, 911, catch this. I became 911. Some people think it's an embarrassing thing. I think it's funny. I think it's funny and I think it's precious that I was called 911 because it's a lesson for me. It's a lesson on how America works and to always be prepared for the weather. Everything was new. The weather was new. Having to prepare for the weather like that was new. How do emergency services work when you call 911 for an ambulance or fire or police? You're not taught this, dude. As an immigrant, you're not taught this by U.S.CIS. You're not taught this by anybody. You're not taught this in school as an international student. These are things that are common sense to people who are born here, but they're not to people that are new to the entire system and the geography and the laws. I transferred to a state school, a big, massive state school in another state. There was a lot of opportunities, a lot of friends, a lot of activities, a lot of student organizations to be part of. Now this is real America. Now I'm like in real America. So many different academic majors and minors, and you got to figure out student living, who you're going to be living with the next year, and so on. In this school, I was part of Greek life. I was a frat boy, and I met a lot of people, a lot of great people in Greek life. A lot of people talk bad about Greek life. Every type of social organization has its own goods and bads. It was great to be part of Greek life. I became friends with so many different people, including Muslims that are westernized. They're not like the Orthodox Muslims that I saw in my own culture in the Middle East. Western Muslims are more chill, I would say. They understand that crazy things happen back in the origin region of Islam. They understood my decision to leave. They understood my decision to have my own conscience and have my own individual choices in comparison to having to abide by the collectivist will and future that is decided for you. I'd go to school, I'd go to class, and these lectures were huge. It's like a theater where the professor is down far away from you and they're just speaking in a microphone and a speaker. And it was an interesting experience. I had to take notes. I had to just live the American college kid life for sure. In the university, I was part of the liberal arts and sciences. So we had a lot of interesting conversations about culture, anthropology, international relations, history. And I'd see a lot of students talk about a lot of things that didn't matter to me. For example, someone would say the government here is bad because they're xenophobic or because whatever. That's just their claims. They're claiming that. That's what they think. They're entitled to their own opinion. But I'm sitting there hearing people complain about stuff like that. And I'm thinking, wow, look how awesome this place is, where people can criticize their own government. They're entitled to their own subjective opinion, without fear of the government going into the lecture and just kidnapping them and no one would know where they are. Look, they can speak about President Trump or President Biden and they could just say whatever they want. They could speak about local government officials and politicians and nothing would happen. They could speak in criticize religions, but nothing would happen except for some religions, unfortunately. And I learned that the hard way because I started speaking about my experience and what happened. And whenever I talk about it, I'm getting the vibes. I can read the room. I'm being problematic because you're in college. People are not expecting that. They want to keep the peace. But if the conversation is intellectual and I feel like I am in a protected environment, then I'm going to tell you what the intellectual argument is based on evidence, data, and experience. It didn't get me in trouble, by the way. I'm protected by the law. I knew that I'm protected by the law, but there was some tension for sure where I had to turn down the disagreeability during my classes. It was in school that I met my wife, my beautiful, lovely wife, who's my best friend. She knew my story. I told her straight up from like the beginning days of us just being friends. I told her my story. I told her what happened. She thought it was very interesting. I just basically took like a bag of trauma and it just was like, here's my story. Boom. She processed it right there. And then she was empathetic. There wasn't like an alarming attitude from her, which I've expected. We became best friends and we started dating and later on got married. And she is an original American. She comes from a very traditional American household. They're very strong in their identity on being American. Stars and stripes, baby. Stars and stripes. Now, during my time at school, I had to also work. I had to go to school, but then also get a job somewhere. I worked, my first job was at the drive-thru of a Taco Bell. So I worked, I paid taxes, I did homework, I went to the gym, played sports with my friends, hung out, went to parties. So here I am. I've got friends that are Muslim, I got friends that are Christian, I got friends that are Jewish, I got friends that don't believe in anything. And we're all unified as just friends. We're there for each other. We go to each other's weddings. We're just like a close-knit community based on just our time, our shared time together within America, within the U.S., within the protection of the U.S., the things that befall all U.S. citizens and non-citizens, U.S. taxpayers. It's somewhere where I found love, I found belonging, I found friendship, I found a lot of fun, I found some heartbreak. Racism is real in America, but it's not as big as you think it is. The racists that I've ran into, I just didn't associate with them. I didn't care. America's too big and too sovereign and too free for me to care about people that are wired a different way. What stands out to me about America is there's people that are very privileged and they're not aware of it. There's people that are privileged and they're aware of it. There's those that don't like the country and they always talk mean about it. And there's those that are very patriotic and love the country with their heart, soul, and bones. And there's me, an immigrant who appreciates America, who sees that America is not a perfect place, but it's the closest thing to perfect on this planet. It's not just about economy. It's not just about defense. It's not about that. It's about actual society. It's in America where you could just hang out with people regardless of your tribal affiliation or religious affiliation, and you're all considered equal before the law. You have so much in common culturally with other people than your own private identifiers, your race or your religion or your ideology. It's a place that gave me belonging. It's a place that gave me sovereignty and dignity. And these are the things that my country of birth tried to take away from me after I denied the religious identity. I am very thankful for America. I have nowhere else to go, buddy. This is all I got. I consider it my home. I love it. I love the American culture, the people. I love bacon. I love grits. I love gravy. I love Miller Lite. I love everything that you consider American.
So as I look back into this institutional change in my life, going from my previous birth country to America, living under American laws and the expectations of American society institutions, it truly changed who I am instead of just my circumstances. When the government, society, institutional expectations of my birth country stripped me of belonging as a punishment, I was forced to confront this existential identity aspect of life. What does it really mean? And when the American institution offered me legal equality, cultural openness, and the right to simply exist without justification, it gave me a new self. So the impact of institutions on people's lives is very decisive. It is the difference between a life spent hiding and a life spent living. For me, personally, It was everything. If you're new to this channel, make sure you review the other videos in my testimony playlist and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you. Bye.